Hello everybody. Welcome to another Chipley webinar. If you guys are new here, we were doing these more often, but now the marketing team here is taking over the webinars, and this is one of the first ones that we're doing. So for this, we are going to be going over some creative web store use cases. So the goal of this is to explore creative web store concepts that extend far beyond just employee or team sales stores and uncover new strategies to attract and connect with untapped customer segments. So we have some cool examples that we will show you. We have some stats. Um, and if you guys do have questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. We'll get to them throughout it or at the end when we're done with everything. So I think we're ready.
Well, hello again. By way of introduction, you're looking at the marketing team here at Chipley. As Chris said, we're trying to give you a lot of new resources, produce new content that both helps you use Chipley better, but also just helps you think about your business more broadly and gives you some additional insight on the industry. So this is part of that, and we'll go through some other resources you can find on our website and places like that as we go through. And just for some housekeeping, as Chris mentioned, there's a little Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom screen, so feel free to ask questions throughout. I'd also say feel free to chime in if you have examples that have worked for you that you want to share. That would be really cool to get some of that insight from you guys as well. And then just so you know, anyone who's registered for this webinar will be sending along the recording as well as the webinar deck in the next couple of days following the recording. So don't worry about taking notes or anything.
Cool. And with that, we'll just go ahead and jump in. So obviously, most of you are here are already using Chipley web stores. But what we're hearing from a lot of our customers is that they're using it in a pretty limited capacity. And so we wanted to talk to you guys about how important it is to use web stores with all of your customers. It's going to simplify ordering for all of your customers. People aren't going to have to send out emails or spreadsheets or, God forbid, clipboards outside the HR office to try and take orders. It's going to do everything online. It's going to be as simple as sharing a link. It's just going to make everything a lot easier for your customers. And then for the people who are actually buying the products, it's going to be a better buying experience for them. So again, instead of having to hunt down somebody to give them their order, hope that they take it down correctly, and then also give them cash or a check, they can do everything online. They can make sure that their order is correct and that they can easily make payment. So essentially what this allows you to do is you're going to be able to sell more and work less. So it's a win-win situation for everyone involved.
Yeah, and so you're going to see these little stats in the corner throughout our webinar today. And just to give some context to that, we worked with a third-party research firm, and just this past month, we conducted a survey of 1,000 US-based consumers. So all of this data is pulled from that very recent and US-based information. So this is for people across the country, different regions, different age groups and genders. So it should give us a pretty good insight into what your customers' customers are really looking for. And so the importance of web stores is underscored. We saw that about 58% of people would be happy to purchase local merchandise online. So whether that's a coffee shop or a gym or anything like that, they would actually go online to make those orders.
So we're going to start here talking about corporate pop-up shops. I know that when people think of employee stores or corporate stores, they think of year-round stores, or you might call them 24/7 stores. However, we really feel that you can drive sales and increase those sales by creating pop-up shops where they have a limited time of maybe just 2 weeks. And we've got some different examples here of why you could use those pop-up shops. So first of all, Employee Appreciation Day, which is already already passed this year, but it's never too early to start thinking about it for next year. We always do this at Chipley. Every year we get a link from Angie and Lynn, and we get to go in and we get to shop for some Chipley gear. It's a huge hit every single day, and my husband gets really excited for it because he always gets a little bit of swag too. But it's just a really nice way to show employees that they are appreciated. And then, of course, with Shipley's e-certificates, it makes it super simple for employees to shop without having to pay for it. Also, industry-specific appreciation days and weeks. So employee appreciation is kind of an overarching umbrella, but then it gets, there's Nurses Week, Teacher Appreciation Week, IT Professionals Day. There's so many all month or all year long throughout the months that you can use those as sales opportunities. So if you have a healthcare employee, reach out to them and ask them if they want to set something up for Nurses Week. It's just another way to hopefully get a store up and increase some sales. Anniversaries are really good too, especially milestone ones, 5, 10 years. It's great to be able to have the company's employees be able to go onto that store and get some merch that's specifically branded for that year. So rather than just having like the Chipley logo, like we could have like celebrating 10 years, like a fun design to increase those sales. Same thing with company events. A lot of companies do like family days or picnics. Web stores make it super easy to get that merch out to them rather than having to, again, collect sizes or just buy a random assortment of sizes and hope for the best. Corporate outings are kind of in the same bubble there. And then conferences. If you attended the Shipley Summit this year, you'll see that we used a web store to get not only your lanyards and your t-shirts for the conference, but we also threw some questions in there to find out things like dietary restrictions and transportation and those sorts of things. So these are all things that you can use Shipley stores for to help you increase sales and then to also just streamline those instances and make them super simple.
Yeah, and back to what Ryan was saying about motivating people with a little bit of a deadline. So one of the big questions that we asked in our survey was, what would make you purchase more items, have a bigger order when you check out at an online store for a local corporation or anything like that? And so 12% of people listed having a deadline associated as one of their top motivators to purchase more items. So, whether that's a countdown clock on your store of when actually people cannot order anymore, or even like a promo code that expires, some of those deadlines were the reasons that people would purchase more.
Okay, franchise and dealer stores. Things like auto dealerships, insurance companies and banks, gyms, things where like it's the same business but in multiple locations. Online stores can really streamline those different branding opportunities. So it'll make sure that employee uniforms are the same across the different branches. They can use them in other ways as well, like customer appreciation gifts are really helpful. The way that Chipley has set up group products now makes it really easy to have like a one free item, which is a great option to send out to a customer that, maybe made a large purchase at the auto dealership, or maybe it's a repeat customer that's been with a bank or an insurance company for years and years. And then with gyms, it's really nice because not only can you take care of the employee side of things like staff and all that, but then they could also offer it to their members because gym members love to wear their gym gear. So t-shirts, but then also water bottles, jump ropes, yoga mats, like kind of those kind of products outside of the apparel category that you could add on there to allow customers to buy.
Yeah, and so back to one of the earlier stats I gave, I mentioned that almost 60% of people would purchase merchandise online. 30% said that actually they would prefer to buy online rather than in person. So that would be something that they would be really excited to see, probably if their local gym had a website where they could buy merch.
I will say, I know that at my personal gym, we have a shelf that's maybe 3 feet wide by 6 feet tall that has their merchandise on it. So it fits about 3 t-shirts and one hoodie and then some supplements. Um, and I've talked to the owner and been like, hey, we need to put a QR code up for an online store because those 3 t-shirts aren't going to last. So another way that Chipley can help is with event merch stores. I recently attended an end user show, and I was talking to people just about how Chipley could help make their lives easier. And the number one thing that I was told over and over again is that when it comes to events, or if they're giving away shirts for a large crowd, they overbuy and just hope for the best with their sizing breakdowns. And that's such a waste of money that Chipley can help overcome. So races, blood drives, anything like that where there's a large amount of t-shirts being given away for free, Chipley can help minimize wasteful spending just by allowing you to know exactly what sizes you need. And it's always smart to kind of over purchase a little bit, like just to have a little bit of padding. But I mean, these people were talking about how they would have like boxes of t-shirts left over that they would stuff in a closet until the next year, and then they would just try to donate them or throw them away because they weren't getting used. So it was really wasteful. And then with like concerts and community events or graduation and other school events, again, it just makes it easier for everyone to make sure that everyone is getting the size and the shirt that they need, rather than trying to overbuy or somehow collect with a outdated method, pen, paper, email, whatever, all of these sizes. Because large events like this, it's just going to be a nightmare if you're not using an online store.
Yeah, and that speaks to why 18% of people said one of the top motivators why they would prefer to shop online is to make sure that they get their correct size. So it's obviously a pain point that's felt on both sides.
Yeah, I know that our vice president of sales, she goes to a lot of concerts and she talks about how a lot of times she ends up buying either a size too big for her and she just like keeps it as a memorabilia and she doesn't really wear it. Or when she's like searching for her nieces, she ends up buying smaller. And then a lot of times it's not the right size. So it's just so much easier if there's a QR code and they like don't have the size that she needs. She can go on and just scan it, get the right size, move on. It's shipped directly to her house a couple weeks later. So it's just really convenient. So this is an example. This is a sample store. We have this on the website if you want to check it out. But we just posted a picture of it here so you can kind of see what an event website might look like. And then we want to talk a second about how you can meet new customers in the event space. So first of all, ask event organizers if they can introduce you to other vendors and sponsors because they're also doing other events. They need their own merch. There's a lot of opportunities there. And then volunteering and sponsoring at these events will introduce you to a wider range and array of new customers as well. The committees that plan these often have a lot of networking opportunities that you could take advantage of. And then finally, joining Facebook or LinkedIn groups where local event organizers connect and share resources. I know that just in my community alone, we have something called Country Days, which always takes place in June. And then we have another big thing called Blues, Brews, and Barbecue that takes place in September. And those Facebook groups are live all year long. And there's local shops and vendors and nonprofits always in there talking about other events as well. And suggesting new small businesses and things like that. So they're just a really great place to kind of get in there and start networking.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Well, and I'll just also put it to everybody who's watching, if you have some ways that you found really successful in introducing yourself to new customers or leveraging some of the customers you have to expand your business, like throw it in the Q&A. We'd love to get some of those examples. But yeah, just another data point. A lot of people, one of the top motivators why they would buy things online is to avoid the in-person line by buying online.
Yeah, at the event that I mentioned, Country Days, there is what they call a merch tent, and it has a line that like wraps around the block, and it really blows my mind every single year when I see that line because it's a plain white T-shirt that probably costs $2, and it just has Farmington Country Days on the pocket. Like there's nothing to it, but people love it because it's a big deal in our town. So. Fundraiser stores. So the first thing I want to mention here before I forget is the fact that Chipley does not charge Chipley fees on fundraising efforts. So if you are trying to help, a project graduation or a nonprofit or someone with a mission trip, and they're doing $5 or 5% on top of every sale for fundraising, that Chipley fee is not taken out of that fundraising effort. So we like to say that we only make money when you make money, and you're not necessarily making money on those fundraising efforts. So Chipley is a great tool for fundraiser stores. But these are just a couple of ideas here. Reach out to, if you have already an athletic customer, like a high school team or a high school league, reach out to whoever's handling Project Graduation, because they always have to raise money to handle those trips and events after graduation. So that would be a great thing to do an online store for. The team and booster club, same thing, or the PTAs, they're always raising money for different clubs or events at the school. So again, use one of the Chipley stores. Nonprofits, POD stores work really well here, as well as like the year-round stores, so that they can kind of have a continuous flow of revenue coming in. And again, it just makes it easier because they don't have to worry about collecting it and then shipping it out and, trying to make sure the sizes, or again, wasting money by overbuying a large amount of t-shirts or whatever merchandise it is that they're selling. And then finally, mission trips as well. So there's a lot of churches and youth groups out there. They're usually going on these trips in the summertime. Use the fall and the spring to open some stores to help them raise that money for those trips that they'll be going on.
Yeah, and 15% of the survey respondents said that if their purchase was going to a good cause or fundraiser, that would motivate them and be a top motivator for why they would purchase more items in the store and increase that average order value for you.
Yeah. So if you are doing a fundraiser store, make sure that you focus your marketing around that fact that, it is supporting a good cause and their purchase does help. Retail brand stores. So, a lot of small businesses in towns, they need some help with an online store. Some of them will have storefronts, some of them will not. But it's like a store, an online store, means that they don't have to have that large storefront area. So restaurants and bars, wineries and breweries, coffee shops, bookshops, even local bands and artists, if they don't have that storefront area to sell all of the merchandise that they want to do, a QR code on a business card is a super simple way to be able to sell their merchandise without having to take up a lot of space. We suggest with these kind of more of the year-round stores or the 24/7 stores, that people can go on at any time. So if someone stops into a coffee shop, maybe they're not from that town, but they think it's a really cute coffee shop and they love their logo and they're like, it would be cute to have a mug from here or a t-shirt. If they have a QR code, they don't have to necessarily make that purchase right then. They can go online, they can browse, they can select something, and then if they are traveling, they don't have to worry about hauling it around with them for the rest of their trip. It's going to be shipped directly to their home. We do suggest focusing on retail relevant items for stores like these. Again, customers are going to want something that has a little bit higher perceived value if it is a souvenir that they're taking home. But there are a lot of great options out there as far as things like coffee mugs and t-shirts and hats that really kind of appeal to people who just want something with the brand on it. Then, of course, target items to the brand's audience. So if it's a coffee shop, look for coffee mugs and travel tumblers. If it's a bookshop, maybe you're looking at book lights or bookends. Kind of think outside the box besides just hats and t-shirts.
Yeah, and one of the things that we always say is that it's best practice to have, 35 or more items in your store, really diversify what people can choose. And that is another top motivator why people would want to go online and shop on an online store, is to see the different variations of, the different types of merchandise, the different colors of t-shirts you have. And that, so 25 said that was a very top motivator for them.
Here's another sample store for you. And then again, to talk about how you might meet new customers in these retail brand spaces. Join a local chamber of commerce. There's going to be a ton of networking opportunities there if you haven't already joined. Or there's also small business alliances, downtown business associations, whatever is relevant in your community. It's a great networking option. And then you can also ask shop owners to refer other boutique owners or vendor friends. So, if you frequent a coffee shop or a bookshop in your town, ask them to give you the best, I don't know, the best small gym or something else. And not only can you patronize that place, but then you can also offer your services. And then sponsor local markets or pop-up events or First Friday events to meet small business owners. So, we have customers that do like Monday meetups or, Friday lattes or something like that. Just some sort of little event that they do once a month. And they just invite other small business owners and you don't necessarily have to sell to them during those events, but it's just a really great way to build relationships and keep yourself top of mind for when they are looking for someone to do an online store for them.
Yeah, and probably, with a new customer, a great thing to recommend would be doing, one-time promo codes or, e-certificates. So, the very top reason why people said they would purchase more items while they're shopping online was with a discount code. So whether that's a percentage off their entire order or, say $20 off when you spend 50 or whatever, that is the number one reason why people would add more items to their orders.
And if you haven't used Shipley's e-certificates or promo codes, we make it extremely simple. You can do a mass upload with a spreadsheet. There's just a lot of capabilities there. It makes it really simple to use. Okay, holiday and seasonal stores. So when we say holiday stores, people usually think like Christmas. We know those are huge, but also think about things like awareness month. So like breast cancer awareness is always a huge one. Teams always do like pink out nights. Schools usually do something. Businesses do something. This is a really good sales opportunity, and you can partner with the business to also do a fundraising campaign. So that's a great option. It's coming up in October, keep that at top of mind. We're in the middle of Pride Month right now, but that's also another big one that businesses usually like to try and support in some way or another. Christmas and religious holidays. And then Veterans Day is another one. And we like to suggest when you're doing holiday or stores for things like Veterans Day or like Pride, think about the vendors that you're using and try to utilize ones that are veterans or that are LGBTQ owned to kind of support them as well as showing your customer that you're willing to work with them.
Yeah, and I think this is also a great opportunity, if you have a customer that say you're doing corporate stores with them, to encourage them to do some of these more one-off, time-sensitive stores. And survey respondents said, almost half of them that they either have received merchandise surrounding one of these types of events or that they would like to in the future.
And so we know that these are a really great sales opportunity for everyone, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody is aware of all of the different appreciation days and months that are out there. So we actually created a calendar that you guys can use, and we'll send this out once we wrap everything up here. It'll be as part of our follow-up. But you'll see on here that we have month-long holidays or celebrations, week-long, and then days, and then other opportunities. And we've also created a blank calendar in a note space so that you can add in things that are relevant to you locally or to your business to kind of make it your own. But just for example, here in June, we had Pride Month, Men's Health, National Zoo and Aquarium Month, National Camping Month, CPR and AED Awareness Week, and National Garden Week. So if you have a nursery or a garden center customer, that would have been a really great one to utilize. Days, we have Flag Day, Father's Day, International Picnic Day, Juneteenth, the first day of summer, and International Yoga Day. So if you have a yoga studio, make sure they're doing something for National Yoga Day. And then other opportunities that you can capitalize upon just within your business. NBA Finals and Stanley Cup Finals take place this month. There's a ton of music and food festivals typically, and then vacation and road trip season begins. So there's a lot of fun things that you can do. Maybe if you're not creating an online store for all of these events, you can utilize these for marketing efforts on social media just to get conversations started. So, and like I said, we will be sending the summer months calendar out to you all at the end of this. And then finally, we kind of wanted to plug our blog. We've really been working on creating content that's going to be useful for you guys and help you use Chipley to sell. And we've listed a couple articles here, which we will link to so that you'll have them available to you in the PDF when we send that out. But we have one that talks about using requester stores as a sales tool, summer sales opportunities that kind of just go over some of the different events that are going to be in that calendar. The secret to boosting sales is the versatility of online stores, which kind of talks about what we went through here about outside of the box uses besides just a team store or an employee store. And then unlocking the secrets to a successful web store is some Chipley best practices that we want to make sure everybody's utilizing. So there's a lot of great content here. And if you go to the Chipley blog page and just scroll to the bottom, there's a subscribe section and it'll send you an email every time we post a new blog. So that way you can always stay up to date. We'll do best practices, product updates, industry and company announcements, that sort of thing. So it's a great resource for you guys to utilize. And that is it. That's the end.
Cool. We are getting some questions here. So there are a couple of ones here. For example, is anyone doing ongoing stores for churches? Are you finding a lot of people are using transfers for catalog stores that are open all the time? Or even someone asked, how are others adding promotional items as one-offs to your storefronts? Um, we actually have a resource for you guys for this. So those questions are more specific towards companies. And one of the things that we created is something called the Chipley Collective. If you guys went to the summit, you'll know about that. In our follow-up email, I'll provide that link too. That group is specifically meant for you guys to ask questions to other company owners to get insights from more than just the Chipley team of other people who are also in your shoes. So when that follow up, that link will be provided. It's a whole platform for you guys to connect with other like-minded Chipley users. So, um, but does anyone have any other questions on this or anything you want to bring up? Some conversation starters while we're still have time on the webinar.
I see
I
that
see
one.
somebody's
Oh, sorry.
landscapers. So I just Googled it because I'm like, I don't think I came across that when I was doing the calendar. It says there's not a landscaper appreciation day, but the third Wednesday of April is the International Interior Landscaper Day. And then I know that there were days for I think like bricklayers. So yeah, we could definitely find some relevant opportunities there, I think, if we looked hard enough. And if there's not, make one your own. Say, this is going to be my landscaper appreciation day on this whatever day. So there's nothing to say that you can't.
Yeah. The point system is a new feature in Chipley. Can we see examples of this used to promote reward stores? So the point system is a new feature inside of Chipley, and it's pretty much meant currently as we're creating more of a gifting platform within Chipley. It's kind of our first step into that. But pretty much it's anytime that your customers are coming to you and asking for a way to hide the pricing on your stores and to give them a different way to shop other than seeing everything as dollar amounts. Um, I can, let me give me one second here. I'll share my screen just for anyone who doesn't know. Um, so within the settings page of your store, there's this price display as, and it'll always default to dollars here. There is both points and dollars or points, and pretty much in here you are just choosing how much you want a point to be worth, whether it's 1 point equals $1 or however you want that to be set up. And then in here you can say it just gives you a quick conversion, and then you can set up e-certificate codes for those points. So if you are running into a church or a gym, or like if a gym wants to reward someone for every single time on the 10th time that they come in, they give them an Easter code for 20 points and they can go on their online store and shop. Um, this is one way that you can kind of do that there. So,
Yeah. An example I heard recently was when Project Graduation, they were doing fundraising. So for the kids, they had to do different events. So like if they participated in the bake sale, they got 100 points to use in their store to get some senior swag. Or if they, participated in the car wash, they got 50 or whatever it was. And so that was a fun way for them to kind of get the kids involved and allow them to be rewarded for actively participating in their fundraising efforts.
I'll just add another resource that we launched at the same time as points-based pricing is the ability for customers to check how much, how many dollars or how many points they have left on their e-certificate. So that helps them, buy some now, save it for later, and be more willing to come online and make sure they use up that e-certificate.
So the requester store question we do, Craig and Chris actually did a really in-depth webinar a few months back on that. And that is listed on the help page. And I'm sure Chris can send you a link. And then also that blog that's going to be linked. We'll talk about how to use it as a sales tool. So you'll have a lot of information available for that one.
one thing too on Chipley specific questions, don't be afraid to reach out to Team Chipley. That's what they're there for, to help get into the nitty gritty of like what you guys are doing and how to implement our features the best way to fit what you guys are doing. So, any other questions? I know there has to be some other questions out there. One of the things too, that I wrote down in my notes that I think is helpful when you're trying to find new customers too, is sometimes the best pitch is not just telling someone that you can do them an online store, but it's also showing them that you can do an online store. And with templates and the requester stores and things like that, you can quickly create an online store, pitch to gyms, churches, corporate things, anything like that. Any new customers that we kind of talked about. It's very simple just to pull a logo online and quickly create a mock store to send to.
And I will say, I'll give you guys a little sneak peek of the blog that's being launched tomorrow, the blog post. Chris actually wrote a whole article on how to use Chipley to find new customers. And he has 7 different ways to find new customers, one of which is using sample stores. So if you guys go to our blog and subscribe, you'll get an email tomorrow as soon as that goes live. So
Perfect.
all
Well,
right, I think.
yeah, I don't think there's any other questions. So cool. Well,
Thank you for joining us for our first ever marketing-led webinar. We hope it lived up to your expectations.
yeah, there will be more. Don't you worry.
And if you guys ever have topic ideas that you want us to discuss, feel free to send them our way.
Perfect. Well, thank you everyone for joining. We'll see you guys in the next time. And be on the lookout for the follow up with all the info that we shared here. So cool, cool. Bye guys.
Everyone.